You don't understand. What you folks never understand. You will watch my reviews. The Last Witch Hunter. And yes, as with, say, the Expendables review, or when I was doing my Rurouni Kenshin vs. Afro Samurai, I have this lying around in my room. I got this for Christmas one year. I like it. I mean, it's not practical for an actual weapon, but it's cool looking. But yeah, I figured this was a suitable thing to use for a Last Witch Hunter review. And yes, The Last Witch Hunter came back. Mark didn't join me last night, but no, he just didn't have the funds. Understandable. I don't always have the funds to see movies, but I do what I can. But Last Witch Hunter. So Last Witch Hunter stars Vin Diesel as an immortal witch hunter, cursed with immortality by the Witch King and to fight witches in the modern era and to stop her resurrection. That is basically it. And you know what? For that very basic premise, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. This is fun. It's not... I can't say it's objectively speaking, I can't say it's a badly made movie, or it would even be a bad movie or anything like that. Some of the dialogue's kind of just... And some of the plot points are just... Like, you either see it coming, you're like, really, they went that route? Like when the character turns evil, or when a character turns out to be bad, you're like, why am I not surprised? But on the whole, it was fun. I enjoyed it, especially because I'm a big sweaty nerd for these things. I am a big uber nerd, and you know what? Vin Diesel is a big sweaty nerd. He's a huge fan of role-playing as like D&D. He loves sci-fi. And you saw him just having fun. You saw him being this immortal witch hunter cursed with immortality by the Witch King. He delivers his lines in a way... I actually heard someone make a good point. He doesn't play an immortal who's depressed with life. He's generally actually okay with life. He drinks, he bangs stewardesses. He jokes around with Michael Caine a lot. He seems to actually have a general okay output on life, but he is sad, he is depressed. He is alone, as the Rose Leslie character puts it. Chloe. And he does miss his wife. His immortality prevents him from seeing his wife and daughter in the afterlife, sadly. Which is unfortunate, which is sad. When you think about it, it is the curse of immortality. You will see everyone you love eventually go. Just dead and gone. You'll eventually see them all go. They say, Michael Caine is the 36th, whatever they called him. Not everything left a lasting impression in this movie. In fact, I'd be remiss to say I'll probably forget a lot of this movie in the coming days. But, that being said, it was still enjoyable. But he's like the 36th one. I don't know. He's basically the guy who writes down his history, his keeper, his handler, whatnot. And then Elijah Wood's his replacement, the 37th one. And then we just go into this world. And now I gotta say, this does play like... There's two ways to look at this from a role-playing game standpoint. This plays either like an interesting campaign of White Wolf, World of Darkness, or it plays like a D&D set in a modern-day era. I don't know how many D&D games actually do like modern-era stuff, but it does kind of play off like D&D set in modern era. And, I mean, all the acting is pretty good for what it's worth. Vin Diesel, he's having fun. He's got some fun little one-liners and stuff like that. At one point, he's trying to get a memory potion from Rose Leslie, who plays Chloe, who's the main witch with him. And he's like, fear potion, what would you need to be afraid of? You know what I'm afraid of? Nothing. It's actually kind of boring. What I need is a memory potion. As if I'd be $500. Fine, sold. Did I say 5? I think it's 5,000. 5,000? Sold. 50,000. When can we get started? Just like, yeah, he just got that coolness to him, man. Vin Diesel's great. I like Vin Diesel a lot as an actor. I mean, he's maybe not a thespian per se, even though he's actually a surprisingly good actor. I mean, just take all the franchise stuff he's out of the picture. He's actually a very good actor. You look at things like Saving Private Ryan, or you look, I can't remember the movie where he played the gangster who basically defended himself. But, no, he's actually a very good actor. And then you get Rose Leslie, who plays Chloe, who's essentially this witch who owns a bar that gets burned down by our villain, who I can't remember his name because I looked at his name, and I'm going to call him Beardy McBeard Witch, because that was all I could think of when I was watching him. You're a douchebag with a beard. A major beard. Like the kind of beard that makes Mark jealous. Mark's a big beard aficionado, which... quick side note. This will be gone probably next week, this goatee. I'm going, once November comes around, it's No Shave November, and I feel the urge to regrow my beard after watching this movie, because a lot of people are sporting some very sexy looking beards. We've got Beardy McWitch Beardy McBeardwitch, then you got the Witch Hunter himself in Viking times, who Vin Diesel has this glorious lock of just beautiful mane of fur on his face, with just like Viking hairdo and stuff like it's awesome, it really is. But no, she owns this part, and she's really good. She illustrates the point in this movie that the witches and humans really aren't different apart from their ability to use magic and maybe a few of their outlooks. And the whole idea of this world going into the modern day is that witches live amongst humans, but there's a truce between them that they don't use magic on humans. And there's a bunch of laws and things along those lines, that magic is essentially hereditary. It's very interesting how it goes, and it's has its elements in nature and is neutral by nature for that. And there's a lot of cool like lore you could do behind this movie, and it probably is behind this movie. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in here. Now, getting to some things that maybe before I continue on with some things I was enjoying, some things I didn't like. Our main Beardy McBeardwitch. He's not the main villain. The Witch Queen is the main villain, but he's like our main villain throughout the first half of the movie, and you don't. I think a villain needs to be two things. One, they need to be an effective villain. You can't look at this villain and say all they got to do is do that and they beat him. And this guy he's not quite that level. He does have power. He's actually quite powerful. But at the same time, you're like he's killed with a knife to the throat. Ooh. And then they have to have some level of likability to them. And when I say likability, I mean something along the lines of, realistic sense of villain. Like in Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill is basically the villain for that. Hannibal Lecter is not the villain in Silence of the Lambs. He's a villain later on in the movie. Like Hannibal, he's technically a villain. But anyway, he's still technically a villain. He's a serial killer cannibal. But Buffalo Bill was a great villain because he's basically a realistic portrayal of a serial killer. And it's scary, but it's entertaining, and you're invested in that. Vader is, for some reason, likable in his sense because he's just so awesome, because he's so bad, because he's just so authoritative, and because he's a multi-dimensional character who has an arc throughout his series. Then you get into guys like, let's see, a perfect example of a character who's not a villain who's not good. Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. No charisma, even though they got a great actor, Eccleston, to play him. No charisma, no charm. He's not even that menacing. Even when he's got the ether, the reality Infinity Stone, he's not intimidating really at all. Right? He's doing some, pretty powerful stuff, but he gets his ass handed to him by Frida. I mean, Frida's probably really powerful, but he gets his ass handed to him. Not one side of that was in his favor. He just is like from the ringing the bell to the end, he gets his ass kicked. Not likable really at all. Let's see another one. There's plenty of villains out there I can think of, but that's what I mean by you need to be likable in some way, shape, or form, or relatable in some way, shape, or form, while doing menacing things. Now, while he's certainly doing menacing things, Beardy McBeardwitch, I didn't find him likable. I just found him an arrogant douche who's just disrupting shit for the sake of disrupting shit. There was actually seen to be a decent amount of an actual decent amount of peace going on, except for the witches who break the law and then get put into the witch prison, which ends up being the Deus Ex Machina for the bad guys. They explain. They explain a lot of stuff just briefly in the movie, and that's one of the things that's also not maybe. You don't need in-depth explanations. 1 or 2 sentences is fine, but the way they explain things is kind of just like, well, that comes out of nowhere, even though it makes sense. You think back on things like Vin Diesel explained to Michael Caine that, we got rid of all the black coves. No, all the powerful witches. We don't kill witches anymore. We put them in a witch prison. We created the best coven for them. You didn't think about this at all, especially when you see what the witch prison actually is. It's essentially a giant stone that literally keeps them frozen in stasis. Very, very good idea, folks. Very good idea. then the whole plot point is, oh, Elijah. Okay, and yeah, this is all spoilers, by the way. So Elijah Wood. Oh, it turns out he was the parents of witches, just didn't have magic. So he turns against them. He's like, oh, my queen, I wish to be involved in magic. You can't make gold from clay, even though you're a witch. I don't know why you can't make gold from clay if you can do things like enter dreams. Excuse me. Or, create a black plague of wasps. So, and then he gets portrayed, shock, and awe. It's like, oh, who could have foreseen this fortuitous circumstance? It's like, you little pathetic little piece of crap. Elijah Wood's fine in this movie, but it's just like, that wasn't surprising, and it wasn't a good twist. Now, what is an actual decent twist is that Vin Diesel's immortality was not cursed on him. It was just kind of like it was a shareholding kind of thing. She, in part, because what's revealed is after he killed the Witch Queen. Well, I'll get to the Witch Queen in just a second. She's pretty fun. When he kills the Witch Queen, he stabs her, and then she curses him with immortality, and then we find out you need to kill the heart to kill her. The whole movie leading up until maybe the mid act or maybe like a little past the mid act is that Vin Diesel needs to remember his death, and they're trying to stop him from remembering his death. Well, as it turns out, what he needed to remember from his death was that his immortality is connected to the Witch Queen's heart. If the Witch Queen's heart is dead, he's either going to lose his immortality or actually be killed. And he's okay with this, but no one else is okay with this for some reason. So then she actually steals his immortality back from him, so he's immortal now in the final fight. Which is like, okay, that was actually a kind of cool plot twist. Now, it kind of makes sense, especially for like a D&D campaign. Again, it's for nerds. This is actually pretty fun. It's better than Season of the Witch, even though Season of the Witch at least had Ron Perlman to help back up Nicolas Cage's blandness. So that's going on. But where was I going? Oh, going back to Rose Leslie. She plays this the owner of a bar. She's such kind of like Miriam from Indiana Jones. It's like, it's like about $5,000. Yell me from my goddamn bar. I'm your goddamn partner. Actually is a little bit like Miriam from Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's not a bad thing. She's actually pretty cool. She's this modern day girl who's a witch. And she's this actually rare kind of witch called a dream walker, which lets her walk into dreams. Freddy Krueger style, because if you die in the dream, you die in real life. Vin Diesel makes the comments like, yeah, I can't die anyway. Yeah, I just got to say that for insurance purposes. Which was a pretty funny line. No, she can do this. And she goes about and, she's scared of this part, but then Vin Diesel helps her with it. And then she comes to terms with this. And I'm glad I didn't go this route, because this whole time he really is pining for, he lives life, but he hasn't actually lived, as Michael Caine put it, basically. And, he's pines for his wife and daughter, obviously, because he loves them to death. He wants to see them, but he can't really go because his work needs to be done. And it's hinted, and, they could have gone the route where the witch, Cleo is her name, falls in love and they fall in love. Maybe he can find, new love and stuff like that. It's hinted there's an attraction there, maybe even a romance in the future, but they did not go that route. Luckily, she basically just ends up being his driver for the time being, which she just freaking floors it on the freaking main streets of New York. I'm assuming they're in New York. We're like, okay, you're not going to get arrested. But I'm glad it didn't go that right, because that just would have been a bit contrived. But, no, she was really good in the movie. I enjoyed it. She definitely had this kind of realistic, a real world mindset, I guess you could say, of how someone would be reacting to these things in life and all the events going on. But with you knowing you have these abilities, you can still muster up a fight. And then there's just some cool things like everyone's trying to fuck with Vin Diesel. Beardy McBeardwitch. Then we're gonna go with, I'm gonna call her Old Hag Witch, there's this witch, I don't know her name. I can't remember her name because I don't remember half the names in this. Hell, the only one I can really remember, I think, is Donovan and Chloe, and that's just and Donovan's, I think his name is actually Caldor, is Vin Diesel's character's real name, but he was going by Donovan at that point. Yeah, they're the only two I actually remember, I think. That's because I briefly looked at the IMDb page just to get an idea of actors' names. But, yeah, there's this witch everyone's trying to basically just bring him down, and for some reason he's really not mentally very strong. He's strong like in terms of willpower, but anytime he's put into a memory illusion, it really seems to really mess with him. But of course, when you're over 800 years old, long for your wife and daughter, Yeah, and you had 800 years worth of memories. Yeah, it might weigh you a little bit to do have those things happen to you. But they just keep doing that, and then the Beardy McBeard Witch does it. He keeps trying to put back in the Chance to Remember, and then they do an Alice in Wonderland crap with him, which he basically gets out of. And then Chloe Rose Leslie just crushes the stone that makes the witch young, and she's like this old broken down hag. So that was interesting. The effects ranged from decent. I mean, like landscape wise, like the whole scene with like the big tree and stuff like that. Those are beautifully animation. The CGI is great. Granted, I saw some pretty obvious green screen in a couple of those scenes. Regardless, though, it was still pretty good. The church was like covered in like trees and a plague tree, as you put it, and bark and stuff. It was all cool. It was all good. The Sentinel they have guarding places, which is like a spider group more or less. That was pretty fun. Then you get into the scenes like Vin Diesel breaking his hand out of handcuffs and then it reassembles, which is cool to watch, but it's pretty crappy CG. What was another one? There were some moments of where the CG was plainly obvious and really not good. But it all comes together with the Witch Queen. We see her in the beginning and we see her in the end. She possesses who I thought was Demon Hansu, but it's not. He's just this blind warlock who's serving bug candies to humans. It's like, okay. Apparently they're hallucinogenic and stuff like that. But now the Witch Queen, I looked up the actress' name. I couldn't pronounce it for the life of me, so I'm calling her the Witch Queen. This woman was eating the scenery so much in this movie. She was having a blast. Her makeup is awesome. She's just like, it looks like she's covered in mud, but almost decrepit, but not. That whole idea, I thought when I spoke about the trailer for this, where I thought her skull and spinal cord were like, still coming out. No, she's wearing like a skull spinal cord headpiece. That's interesting. And she's just being so over the top. It's like, hello. It's like, I created the plague because you humans, you live in your filth and rocks. I created to cleanse the world. And just gets stabbed. It's like, I curse you with life. Ah. She comes back, you've changed. Steals the immortality back. Then we see her and her and Vin Diesel are fighting. Just, she's just yelling and stuff. It's hilarious and it's fun as hell. Her makeup is really good, by the way. It's not CGI with her. She's wearing makeup. It's good makeup. Very fun. And I can say, and then the climax is. I can't say it's the worst climax. It's very basic climax. He gets his flaming sword going. It's engraved with ruins. I don't actually know what causes his sword to turn to flames, because in the past he did it. It seemed like something liquid was rolling down his sword and it caught fire. And in the present day, I don't know what causes his sword to catch flame. All I know is he doesn't even defeat her with flame. He defeats her by using these stones he collected in the very beginning of the movie when he was on a plane. That was a fun scene. He's on this plane stopping a witch's little shenanigans from happening because she kind of messed that up. Because she didn't know what she had. They were like ancient ruins for like wind, water, and lightning. So they were creating this giant storm up in the sky. So he brings these to the fight. He gets shocked. He's not immortal anymore. And he's kind of dying. It's one of those things like mother and daughter. Go back, Daddy. You need to do more work. You need to save the day. So he just throws the stones on the water, and it creates this violent storm in these catacombs. And he just throws the sword. And there's this line he keeps using: "Go, forged by iron and by fire," and just throws it like a spear, skewing her with lightning. It's pretty fun. He gets that's the thing. He gets his immortality back because he doesn't fully kill her, and she's cursed him like this. And they don't end up killing her because Chloe says, "No, there's worse things than her." Worse things than her? What are they waiting for? For you? Oh, well, that's how I'm cutting points. It's like, what's worse than her? God. Because she seemed pretty bad. It's like they're waiting for a world without you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Stab. Okay, no. And then, first time, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what happens next. You know what we call that? Living. So, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's really, I can't say it's a overly well movie. There are problems with it for certain. There's dialogue that doesn't really make sense. There's dialogue that's stupid. Some of the action sequences are good, some of them are not so good. The whole beginning one's very hard to watch, not because it's horrifying, because it's actually hard to watch. You're having a little trouble understanding what's going on through some of the scene. So some of the shots and directing are a little odd. The effects range from okay to good to even bad. So actually, excuse me, they range from bad to good. So, and some of the, I mean, again, Beardy McBeardwitch was not that great a villain. Witch Queen was a hell of a fun villain. Beardy McBeardwitch, not so much. And Elijah Wood's little plot twist was not surprising, and frankly, we didn't care. It's like, oh, now he's dead. Hi, Michael Caine, you're back at your job again. Yes, I am. So I give this about a 6.5, above average. It was a fun time. If you have any interest in seeing it, I highly recommend you go see it. So I don't recall getting any new trailers. I got Star Wars, but not the new one, unfortunately. And I got a couple trailers. I got Skyfall again. Nothing new. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know or do a review of it at some point. So, I actually have a bit of movie news to do today, and then that'll be it. So, I'll be back in just a second.